You're still watching The Perspective on Jakarta Group News Channel. I'm Florence Armin. We're talking to VIvian Idris, a inspiring documentary filmmaker, and she focuses on the weaving cloth of Toraja. Now, we talked earlier about ethical fashion. This is one of the main goal of the project of Torajamelo. If you could just give us, in a nutshell, what is ethical fashion?
Okay, so the term ethical fashion actually came to us, to me and to Torajamelo on the first screening of this documentary, where Ibu Saida from the Ministry of Industry, she talks about the goal. One of the goal of the ministry this year is going towards ethical fashion. And first of all, first thing, we're not realizing it, but then listening to her, is actually what Torajamelo has been doing is doing the business towards ethical fashion. What it means by ethical fashion is you don't only enslave your weavers. They're artisans. So you appreciate every little thing that they do. Meaning every process is a collaboration, even in designing. So Nina always told me that I cannot tell them how this pattern is going to be like. I'm just going to give them the colors. This is the colors for this year, and then how it's going to come out, I never know until I see it, because all the weavers, they're also creators. So that's their part of designing.
They're designer by design. Actually, when they started making this, they are designer of their own, but they're not recognized for it a lot for it.
That's what Torajamelo is trying to recognize. And then in making the clothes, they work together with urban poor community. So they teach the ladies how to make this kind of pattern and stuff like that. And then also by using every little bit of the weaving,
nothing
cloth,
gets thrown away.
Nothing gets thrown away. All the little bit is made into a jewelry, into small pockets and stuff like that. So actually, and also it's going back to natural cotton, natural raw material, which is cotton, and then natural dyeing. But that is also natural dye. Natural dye. But that's still in process, because it's not easy to change the culture from doing everything with with instant thread, with chemical color, and then going back to a natural ingredients, because it takes longer time, and of course it makes things more expensive.
So ethical fashion is not just getting the end product from the producers, but knowing and actually influencing how things are being done, the materials that's being used, how the process that takes into that, and just how involved are you or Torajamelo in making sure that ethical fashion is in place?
I think they're very involved, because the scale of the industry of Torajamelo is still quite small, so they can oversee everything, the design process, and then the production process is still very closely looked on. And
you mentioned earlier one of your main target audiences is actually decision makers, because these are the people who are able to, by the end of the day, be the hero saving up, either in terms of funding or in terms of further funding, regulations, policy.
Regulation, policy, and making sure that it's being implemented. Actually, So I have plans to screen this film where the audience are, the decision makers. I'm still working on that, but I'm sure there will be a lot of friends who can, a lot of networks, who can help me do that.
And you mentioned earlier as well that the ministry actually has this program of ethical fashion. And this is something that hasn't been widely exposed,
hasn't been widely shared with. Exactly. So I think that it needs one more step, actually, from the program of each ministry. I think something like that. It's a waste if it's only only a few people know about this, where actually maybe more people or a lot of people are involved or doing the same thing. So I think the impact can be much more significant. By having proper publicity or socialization about one program.
And so what's next for the movie? Now that you've screened it here locally, what are your plans for, just to make sure that this gets as many audience as it can?
Yes, we have planned to screen this in Jogja with our network in Kampung Halaman. It's a film organization who work closely with the grassroots. And then we have planned to screen this in Makassar Writers Festival, and probably in Ubud Readers and Writers Festival. And then we have planned also to screen this, I think, next month in the women empowerment session in South Jakarta.
All right. Yeah. We'll come back on our last segment. We'll talk further about the support that Torajamelo and VIvian Idris has been getting throughout the process of the movie. We'll be right back.